Alright, so today's lesson is going to be going over how to identify proportional and non-proportional relationships in graphs. Now, we've been looking at tables, or the last lesson we looked at tables, so now we're going to look at the picture translation of that. Alright, and what it means to graph something out and all of that good stuff. Okay, so before we get started on that, let's go over what we've been doing. So our opening exercise says, Isaiah sold candy bars to help raise money for his scouting troop. The table shows the amount of candy he sold compared to the money he received. Okay, so you should automatically know that our ratio that we're going to be looking at is going to be cost per bar. And we're trying to see if the unit rates are equal. Alright, and if they are equal, that means that they are proportional. And or if they're not equal, then they aren't proportional. So you should already know that in your head just from our previous lessons. Okay, so let's mark off our situations. Alright, so first, second, third, and fourth situation. So in our first situation, we're looking at a ratio of, we also know that this should equate to cost colon bar. Alright, or money received rather than cost. Okay, so our first situation is going to give us a 3:2 ratio. Okay, and if we put that in fraction form, I like fraction form because it's easier for trying to figure out what to multiply or what to divide rather than in this colon form. So I know that means that it's $3 received over 2 bars collected or sold. And if I set this up to be an equivalent ratio where our number of bars sold is 1, I know that I need to divide by 2 to get to 1. So if I divide 3 by 2, I get $1.50. Okay, so I know that it's $1.50 per bar in the first situation. In our second situation, we see that it is a $5 to 4 bars ratio. And our unit rate then, again, I'm going to put it in fraction form and figure it out from there. We want to go from 4 to 1, and to get there we divide by 4. We want to go from 5 to whatever our unit rate is going to be, so I need to divide by 5. And I get that our answer is actually $1.25. If you're not sure how I got that, I'm going to put that off to the side here. I know that I'm going to divide $5 by 4. Okay. Add in some extra zeros and a decimal there. I know that 4 goes into 5 one time. Alright, I know that 4 goes into 10 2 times. Now, of course, we got to put in our decimal there. Gives me 8. Bring down that 0. And it's $1.25. And I know that that's one's good. Okay, so without having to go any further, let's look at our table. I know that for 2 I multiply by 150. For 4 I got 125. I know that if I do it for 8, it's going to be different. Okay, but I don't have to go any further than that because I already see that our what we multiply, at least between the two situations, are not equal. So I'm going to say no because our unit rate are different between situation 1 and situation 2. Okay, so we don't have to go any further than that. Alright, let's jump into our examples or our lesson for today. Alright, so it says using the ratio provided, create a table that shows money received is proportional to the number of candy bars sold. So now we're starting with a clean table and we want to fill in some information. So we know that our money received to candy bar sold is going to be $3 to 2 bars. Okay, I want to add a page because I need more space. So I'm going to add a page in there. All right. So we know that our ratio is going to be $3 to 2 bars. Okay. So we need to set up our tables. All right. So we can use random numbers, but I like to use just the standard 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars, and I see that there are 1, 2, 3 spaces, so 5 bars. We know that 2 bars is going to cost $3, so that's going to be our, not unit rate, but that's going to be the ratio that we want to use. Okay, from above, we saw that we can either use this ratio or a unit rate, which we got from above, which is going to be $1.50 per bar. Okay, you can use either one. In this equation, or for this example, I'm going to actually use the unit rate. All right, and again, I like to use our fraction form, so I know that this unit rate can be written as $1.50 colon 1 bar, or $1.50 over 1 bar. Okay, in actuality, I'm going to use this unit rate because it's just easier for me to multiply that stuff out. Okay, so I'm going to say 150 over 1 bar. Okay, we want to find the equivalent ratio if it were 3 bars. Okay, we know if we go from 1 to 3, we need to multiply by 3. What we do to the top, the bottom, we need to do the top. So I know I'm going to multiply 150 by 3. Okay, and if I do that math, I'm going to see that it's going to cost me, just kidding, $4.50. Okay, put that in our little table there we got going. All right, we're going to do the same thing for 4 bars and 5 bars. All right, so I have $1.50 for 1 bar is equal to 4 bars underneath. To get there, we multiply by 4. That means we have to multiply by 4 on the top. All right, 150 times 4. 2, 4 by 6. And this makes sense because all I have to do, I have twice as many bars, therefore the cost should be twice as much. So $6 for 4 bars makes sense to me. Okay, and our last one. Put this in here. Keep it complete. $1.50 times 5, I should get $7.50. All right, put that in our little table here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to have in my table. I'm going to move all my values. 3, 4, 5. It was $4.50 for 3, $6 for 4, and $7.50 for 5. Okay, now our example says to get the table so that shows proportionality. Great, no worry about that. So now we have to plot the points on our table from the table onto the grid. Okay, so before we do that, we actually need to review some things about putting points on our grid. All right, this is what we call a coordinate plane. All right, but before we plot, I want to do some review. So let's review. Again, I'm going to add, actually, I could probably put it in here. Alright. So this is our review of a coordinate plane. Okay. So anytime we review, of course, we have to look at our vocab words. I'm going to throw in some lines because I can't write straight. So I'm going to use that to help me. Okay, so our first one, of course, is going to be coordinate plane. All right, and this is just a graph where coordinate points may be plotted. Okay, and if you're having trouble remembering this stuff, remember this is from 5th and 6th grade math. All right. So we're looking at a graph where we can plot some points. All right, and these are what we call x and y values. All right. Another term we need to review is the x-axis. All right, and that is just the horizontal axis or line on our coordinate plane. Okay, these are going to contain all of x values. All right. Of course, with our x-axis, we need to take a look at our y-axis, and this is the vertical line or vertical axis. All right, and this is where all of our y values are going to be contained. Okay, and of course these values are talking about those values that we get from our table. All right, we're going to take a look at quadrants, which are just the areas on a coordinate plane. And there are 4 of those. And I'll show you how to mark those. We have our plotting points. Oops, spelled that wrong. Which just are the points on the graph. Okay, and typically we give these letter values, or you'll see it on that graph. All right, we have ordered pairs. Okay, and they are the x values and y values. These are corresponding. Which also means that they're just related to one another. Related to each other. Okay, and they're again in that ordered pair XY. Okay, and our last one is our origin, which is just the intersection of our X axis and Y axis. Okay, and they have, the origin has its own ordered pair of 0, 0. Notice that I keep putting ordered pairs in parentheses. That's on purpose. Okay, that just keeps those. Okay, so all I've done is added a sticky. That's going to give me a coordinate plane. So let's do some highlighting here. So my coordinate plane is going to be all in green. So this is my graph, right? So this is my coordinate plane. There you go. My x-axis, I'm going to turn pink. Okay, so my x-axis, remember, contains all of my x values. We usually mark x-axis. Alright, I'm going to make my y-axis purple. Okay, I'm going to mark my quadrants in yellow, orange, for easier to see. So we always start with the upper right hand corner. We say this is quadrant. Oops, let's make that a little bit thinner. This is quadrant 1. This is quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So we use just the Q, and we go in a counterclockwise fashion starting with upper right hand corner. Alright. My plotting points, I'm just going to put some random points on there. I'm going to do in green. Okay, and we said that we usually note them with letters. I'll put a random one here, A, put a random one here, B, put a random one here, we'll call it D, I know it's out of order, C we'll put down here, and then E we'll put over here. Okay, and for each of those pop points, they get their own ordered pairs, and we are going to put those in blue. Okay. So for A, my ordered pair is, before we can put in ordered pairs, we need to know what our values for our x and y axis are. So I'm going to call this 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. And our y values, purple, negative 1, negative 2, 1, 2, 3. So we go back to putting our ordered pairs. So A has an ordered pair of, make that a little bit thinner, is 3.5 or 3.5 and 1. Okay, just get that from my x and y axis. B has an ordered pair of 1 and 2. D is negative 1 and 0.5. E is negative 2.5 and negative 1. C is 2 and negative 1. Okay, and then my origin, let's make that one gray. Okay, going to put my origin here. Right in the middle, right where 0, 0 should be. Okay, and then we call that 0, 0. Okay, so now we're going to plot those points. Now that we've reviewed our coordinate plane, we're going to put those points from our table in example 1 onto the graph that's provided on your paper. Okay, so my first point is 2, 3, so I'm going to put that in. I know that my fourth line over is 2, or third line over is 2, and then I'm going to put it at the 3, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, my next point is 3 and 4.5. So I'm going to move this up. Another 4.5 exists between 4 and 5, so halfway between. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, and my next point up is 4 and 6. Okay, so if this one is 3, 4, and 6. And my last point is 5 and 7.5. Okay. 7.5 is here. Alright, so if I take that off, I know that that's what my graph looks like. Okay, and usually when you have points on a graph, you're looking for proportionality, you want to put in a line that connects them. Okay, and of course if we were to extend this out, it would just it signifies that we don't stop at selling 5 bars. We can go on to infinity. Okay, so that's what our graph looks like. Okay. All right. So looking at that graph, let's note some characteristics of graphs and proportional relationships. The first one is that our plotted points appear to be in a straight line. Okay, so what that means is that if I were to take a ruler and line it up with all the points, they would all sit on the same line that I would draw through them. Alright, and the second one is that to see a proportional relationship, we know that the line is going to pass through the origin. Okay, which is 0, 0. So what that means is translated into regular sentences, we would say that if 0 bars are sold, then 0 money is going to be collected, or that 0 money is collected because 0 bars are sold. Okay, so we should be able to see that this line, if extended, should be able to go through the origin, which is here. Alright, it goes all the way through there. Okay, so that's what that means. So if we're looking for proportional relationships, it means that that line, again, is going to go through the origin, which is 0, 0, and the plotted points appear to be in a straight line. Okay, so example 2 and 3 are asking you to plot the points from the table and see if they're proportional. Alright, and they're asking you to also compare the graphs that you are drawing. So do that, and then we'll go over the rest in class. Alright, good luck.